Hey, what's going on, guys? It's CalebBake01. Thank you for joining me again for another random horror review. For today's episode, only going back to a movie from last year. This was actually one of the earlier releases of 2021. And I first seen it when it first came out, so it's been a little while since I last checked it out. I recently picked it up for one of my recent horror movie collection updates, but otherwise it's only just sort of sat on the shelf, so I thought perfect morning to revisit this one and put a review together for you guys. The movie is the Wrong Turn remake, otherwise known as Wrong Turn: The Foundation, I think. But obviously, you guys are going to know what movie I'm talking about. Yes, this is a remake, but I really feel like if you want to check this one out, you don't need to have seen the original franchise. I'd say how this one and the original franchise tie in, I guess the structure is similar enough. But I'd say the connection is solely name only. So, if you want to check this one out, I really wouldn't recommend needing to have seen the original franchise to understand what's going on here. But as usual, we'll go into the plot for this one first of all, and then get into my thoughts and rating as we go on. So the plot for this one is pretty basic to start off, I guess. A group of friends, I believe there's 6 of them, decide to go on this hike, a little getaway to get, I guess, in touch with nature. This area that they're in, the locals warn them not to go up on the mountain, and if they do, especially just to stay on the path. But because they're teens and this is a horror movie, of course they go off trail. In a way, they sort of disrespect the mountain, their surroundings, cause themselves a bit of trouble. And there's these people living on the mountain that don't take too kindly to them being there. It does sort of go in a direction that I didn't expect it to go into later in the film. When I first seen it, I was like, oh, okay, well, it's going to be that sort of movie. And I am going to sort of go into that a little bit later because I have some problems with the plot in this one and some points I want to bring up and get off my chest. But for me to go into that, I am going to have to talk about spoilers. So I'm sure if you guys are familiar with my channel, I don't normally go into spoilers, but for me to just sort of get it off my chest, as I said, today I am going to sort of include spoilers for this one, so just a heads up. But before we get off the plot, I think it's also worth mentioning there's also a side story with this girl's dad who is taking his time to find her, and eventually the stories, of course, at the end sort of wrap into each other. But that's basically the plot for this one. As I said, I don't normally like to go into spoilers for my random horror reviews, but I do want to give you guys a heads up that that's what I'm going to be doing today. So let's get into my thoughts of this movie now. So as I said in my intro, I'd actually seen this movie before when it first came out. I went and seen it at the drive-ins with a bunch of friends, so if I'm being completely honest, my attention wasn't fully invested into this movie. It was just sort of on in the background. We were all just sort of piss-farting around, joking around, catching up with each other. But don't get me wrong, I never remembered it as being this amazing, mind-blowing spectacle, but for a popcorn flick on in the background, I thought it was pretty decent. But re-watching it this morning and actually putting my full attention into it and looking out for details in the plot and with the characters, this movie is really weak. It's pretty poor. I remembered it at least being average, but unfortunately I'd say it's below average. The pace of the movie and once it gets started, I guess isn't too bad. We have our first kill at roughly maybe the 20-minute mark, and that's sort of where it starts getting going, which isn't too bad, but to get to that point, we're introduced to our characters. None of them I found a real connection to or overly likable. The cast that we get is pretty diverse, which I thought would actually play into the plot a little bit more because, we have a gay couple in this friendship group. One of the boyfriends is black, and, when they start off in this movie in the town, a lot of the townspeople are very old school, so they're given these greasy looks and evil eyes, and I'm like, okay, this might play into it, but it doesn't. However, the diversity wasn't a bad thing because, I like diversity, but sometimes in mainstream movies it can feel very forced and, just feels like the studios are giving themselves a pat on the back just because they're including it, but I didn't feel like it too much in this one, which was good. But as I said, none of the characters I really felt connected with or liked that much, especially what I'd say was our leading two in the friendship group, being the main girl. I just found her to be honestly a bit annoying. She just felt very righteous or entitled in a way. She felt like she was giving off this energy that she was better than everyone else because she knew things, and I don't know, I just found her character to be very annoying. And then her boyfriend also. Normally, I don't like to get too much into what I would say is a bad performance, but I just feel like his acting wasn't really on par. I normally don't like to get into it because they can all act better than me. I don't have the right to say who's a good actor and who isn't, but I just felt like his performance wasn't the best. And then also the way that his character developed as the movie went on. I'll get into a little bit later because it involves spoilers, and it's the thing that I wanted to bring up to take off my chest because I fucking hated the direction his character went. I thought it was completely fucking stupid, but yeah, I'll leave it at that. None of the characters really that good. I guess we better get into the side plot as well. The main girl's father looking for her because she's been missing for some time. Probably weaker than the main story, and as you can tell, I don't hold the main story that high either. What I liked, I guess, about, the little side story with the dad is it added background to what is going on in this town and what's going on in the mountains and the lore of everything, which I found to be, essential to figure out what's going on. But otherwise, I just found his story to be not that engaging, and, I really feel like if it wasn't there, it wouldn't really have added that much to the plot anyway, so the stories in this one not too solid. And I guess to continue with the plot also, I want to bring up the ending. I remember watching the ending, as I said, in the drive-ins and being, okay, that's pretty interesting, and I thought it was unique, it was different. But watching it this time around, I thought it was just complete bullshit. That last 10 minutes, I was like, what the fuck is happening? I just thought it felt so fucking stupid, and I can't believe I actually sort of liked it the first time around. I was like, well, this isn't the same ending, because it was just fucking bad. I found it really hard to get through, but overall, I'd say the plot and the characters and some of the performances aren't really the best in this one. So now I might as well talk about that part I was mentioning with the boyfriend's development and how stupid I think. However, this is going to be the part where I talk about spoilers. This is just something I need to get off my chest because I've always had this problem with this movie. From the first time I saw it at the drive-ins, I just remember looking up and being like, that's stupid. And then this time around, being like, yeah, it's just even more stupid now that I'm fully focused in on what's going on. But as I said, I'm going to have to talk about spoilers so, you guys understand what I'm talking about. So if you don't want this movie spoiled for you, feel free to leave the video. Thank you for joining me up to this point. But if you want to hear me and my gripe with the way that this character was developed and what eventually happens to him, stick around. So basically what's going on in this one is the surviving friends are basically taken captive by this community living off in the woods. They're basically told, live our lifestyle or we will kill you. So they are held captive and hostage, living this lifestyle for 6 weeks. Now that's very important to know, for 6 weeks. The side plot with the dad eventually finds his way to this community, living off in the woods, to save his daughter and the surviving friends. The daughter takes her chance to leave and she goes to find the boyfriend to get the fuck out of there. The boyfriend says no, because now he feels like in this community he is seen, he has purpose, these people are his family, and that he just doesn't want to go. It's been fucking 6 weeks, I'm sorry, but I just, in my mind, in that situation, I just can't think of any possibility of someone being like, yeah, I've been here for 6 weeks, this is my life now, I'm not leaving. And the worst part is, earlier in the movie, they never even, show any sign that his life on the outside might be shit or, he's having any trauma or any struggles. No, he's just been here for 6 weeks and gone, yeah, no, I like this. I can't wrap my head around it. I think it is so fucking stupid. I think it's the dumbest plot point ever. The way just his character is developed, because earlier before, when they first come across this community and these, this foundation that they're called, these people living off in the woods, he stands his ground, he's tough, but he's there for 6 weeks and goes, yep, this is my life now. I just thought that was completely fucking stupid. So that was just my little gripe that I wanted to get off my chest. As I said, I normally try to tiptoe around spoilers, but to talk about that point, I just needed to talk about the movie and get it off my chest, because every time I think of this movie, I just think about how fucking stupid that point is. However, we'll wrap it up now. For a movie that should be a lot more fun than it is, It just takes itself way too seriously, and this movie should just be a lot more fun. And as I said, I had a lot more fun the first time watching it when it was on in the background. And I guess maybe that's what you guys can do as well. Have some friends over and just maybe take this movie with a little more lighter approach and have some fun with it. But this time, just watching it by myself, I found it really tough to get through. So I am going to give The Wrong Turn remake 4 out of 10. You know, there's definitely better movies to be watching than this one, and just revisiting it this time, I just found it to be quite disappointing. So thank you for joining me again, guys. I just want to say I really appreciate everyone who has been subscribing lately. I've really noticed, especially over the past week or two, my subscriber count has really skyrocketed. So I just really want to show my appreciation to you guys, and hopefully you have all been enjoying my content. Let me know what content you want to see in the future. You know, drop that in the comments below, and I will see you guys for another video very, very soon. Thanks.